Here we are in Philippians chapter 2, verse 25 through 30. This takes us to the end of chapter 2. Paul has just talked about the fact that he's given his life and they're giving their life for the joy of the gospel. He recommends Timothy as Timothy's going to come to Philippi and check in on them and get the news. And he says some wonderful things about Timothy. You can see that in the previous video. He says, I'm going to send him shortly as soon as we get squared away. But yet, it's necessary to send Epaphroditus. And here's the second guy that Paul mentions that I think is important for us. What are these guys in the Bible for? Well, understand in the present day, when these letters were being written, these were in some part letters of recommendation. Trust this guy, listen to this guy, allow this guy in. He's the real deal. I'm giving you letters of approval, a reference, so to speak, for these guys to work with you as they've worked with me. And he says of this Epaphroditus, he's my brother. He's a companion in labor. He's a fellow soldier. He's your messenger. Now they know him. He came from Philippi to be sent to come to Paul and to bring needs, meet Paul's needs, the gifts that the church of Philippi had gotten together and brought to him. He knows them, and he's reminding people of who they are and telling the truth about them. He just says, he that ministered to my wants. And this is a wonderful thing. You know, not everybody in ministry is up front. Not everybody is noticeable. Not everybody's a preacher or a leader. Sometimes there can be people that serve as companions in labor, as a fellow soldier. This is equal ground with Paul. Paul's not saying, "Well, I'm better than him, and he's just a laborer. He's just doing the grunt work. He's just a messenger boy. He's just a minister or servant." No, this is on the same level. We're in this together. We're brothers. We're companions in the fellowship of the gospel. We're on the same mission, working together, striving together for the faith of the gospel. I think these are some of the reasons why these guys are in this passage, to going to give us the examples and to see what it looks like, who these people are. He longed after you all. He was full of heaviness because you heard that he had been sick. When Epaphroditus reached Paul, he's not feeling well. Okay, it's not that he's just got a cold, but it says here he was near to death. But thankfully, God had mercy on him, and not on him only, but on me also, lest I would have sorrow upon sorrow. I mean, what a wonderful God that we serve. He knows how much we can handle. It's almost as Paul saying, I'm in prison. I'm going through a lot right now, and I just couldn't handle knowing that this wonderful guy, this friend of mine, this companion and fellow soldier, this faithful guy who was sick, and then he died because he was bringing me stuff from the church of Philippi and helping me in the ministry of the gospel. And God knew this and had mercy. Otherwise, I'd have sorrow upon sorrow. And I just couldn't take it. He says, I sent him, therefore, the more carefully. You know, I can imagine. Now, listen, you take care of yourself and get some rest and make sure you take your vitamins and, carefully, that when ye see him again, you may rejoice, and that I may be less sorrowful. Knowing, hey, you want to rejoice like I rejoiced when I got him because he's alive, because he's still with us. He says, receive him, therefore, in the Lord with all gladness. And we want to hold such in reputation. People like this ought to be taken care of. They ought to be rewarded. They ought to be just making sure their needs are met and honored, not in an ungodly manner, not in a way that takes away the way of God, but opportunities to encourage these people and help these people and honor these people. Why? So that they can continue, so that they're better equipped to serve the Lord. But here's the reason. It's because for the work of Christ, he was nigh unto death. I think this is so huge, and we're going to apply this in a big way here in just a second. Whoops, I don't like that shape. I want a more circular shape. Can we get that? There we go. Not regarding his life to supply your lack of service towards me. Now, we think of this word negatively here, but it's just the idea of you couldn't do it. You weren't able to. In fact, you sent him to do it in your place. And so when he was in your place serving, when he was in your place ministering, when he was bringing the message, He's together with me as a fellow soldier and a companion. He got sick, so sick, he almost died. Thankfully, God saved him, and I sent him back to you carefully, and you receive him with gladness and honor him, hold him in reputation. What a blessing, what a privilege this person is. And we hold him in reputation because this is what he gave his life for the work of Christ. Even so much he didn't care, in a sense he didn't care. He just kept going, he kept pushing. He was willing to make the sacrifice because he saw the big picture of the importance of the glory of God, not regarding his life to supply, to serve the Lord, and to bring him glory. I think it's so important that we all grow to a place where we don't regard our life, where we're willing to look on the things of others, where we can let this mind be in us, which was in Christ Jesus. And these are all the things that Paul's talking about earlier in the chapter. And now he's giving these examples of Timothy was like this. Here's a practical example, what it looks like to be a part of the fellowship of the gospel and to think on the things of others and to put other people and their spiritual well-being in front of you, even your health, even your life, for the furtherance of the gospel. And I guess I'd just say they don't make them like this very often. People don't. They try to balance. They try to do a little bit for God, but hold on to their life tightly. And I believe what God would, when people are truly satisfied in God, there's a place, I think, where we just cross over into the work of Christ. And it's not about us. It's about Jesus. It's about his work, about his glory, about shining for him. And that doesn't mean we don't take a vacation. It doesn't mean we don't watch TV or things like that. But the mission of our life, the heartbeat of life, the focus of our life, all of the time and talents and treasures that we have, the resources are poured in to what God is doing in this world. And what a wonderful example Epaphroditus is of someone who obviously is our ultimate example, Jesus Christ, in that he served and ministered to other people. And this is the very heartbeat of Christianity. This is one of the ways, as we do this dependent upon Christ, this is one of the ways we see joy, even in suffering, even in hard times, even in challenging times. We find joy because we are knowing Christ and serving with him and trusting in him and experiencing him as we further his glory in the world. Philippians chapter 2, verse 25 through 30.